What is RAC? Real Application Cluster, RAC, is a clustering solution. It ensures high availability for database applications. A RAC setup contains at least 2 nodes for a database. RAC provides high availability and load balancing through these nodes. What are the benefits that RAC provides? In a RAC setup, a single database is accessible through multiple nodes. Therefore, even if one node is down, database is still available through another node. Another benefit of RAC is scalability. You can add another node to an existing RAC database very easily. How does RAC ensures data consistency between 2 nodes? RAC ensures data consistency between 2 nodes through cache function. How is RAC different from non-RAC clusters? A non-RAC database has a single node, while a RAC database has multiple, at least 2, nodes. The nodes in a RAC setup share storage. RAC offers failover option, while a non-RAC database does not offer failover option because it is based on a single node. Why do we need to store data files in shared storage in RAC environment? A RAC setup is essentially a single database accessible through multiple nodes. Therefore, the data files in a RAC setup must be shared, while the processes, which are used to manage or access those files, are available on each individual node. Name the 3 network components of RAC. The 3 network components of RAC are public, private, and VIP. What is VIP? VIP is an address, which is not directly connected to any host. It is a spare address, which can be mapped to another host in the same subnet. It can be easily mapped to another host in case of a failure. What is the benefit of using virtual IP, VIP? Whenever an application uses VIP to connect to a database, it can fail over to another available node in case of a failure of one node. You need to use VIP as the host name in the Transparent Network Substrate, TNS, entry to use VIP. What is the Cluster Ready Service, CRS, resource? CRS is the main program that manages high availability operations. The resource managed by CRS process is called CRS or cluster resource, such as database, instance, service, listener, VIP address, or application process. What is the use of Oracle Cluster Registry, OCR? OCR stands information about cluster resources and their configuration. The CRS process uses that information to manage resources. What is interconnect network? An interconnect network is a network between nodes of a cluster. It uses switches to ensure that only nodes can access this network. Generally, this is a high-speed connection. What is the use of cluster interconnect? Cluster interconnect is the network between any 2 nodes in RAC. It is used for any communication between 2 nodes. Generally, it is a high-speed connection used for cache fusion. How can we configure the cluster interconnect? You can use the following statement to configure cluster interconnect on each instance of the RAC. Alter system set cluster_interconnects. IP address scope_info sid equals sid. You need to log in as sysba to configure cluster interconnect. List the components of Oracle Clusterware. The components of Oracle Clusterware are given as follows. Oracle Process Monitor Daemon. RACH Process. Oracle Notification Service. Event Manager. Cluster Ready Service, CRS. Cluster Synchronization Services, CSS. List the background processes required for RAC. The background processes required for RAC are given as follows. ACMS, Atomic Control File to Memory Service. LMON, Global NQ Service Monitor. LMD, Global NQ Service Daemon. LMS, Global Cache Service Process. LCK0, Instance NQ Process. RMSN, Oracle RAC Management Processes. RSMN, Remote Slave Monitor. What is Global Resource Directory, GRD? GRD is used to GES and GCS to maintain status of data files and cached blocks. This process provides required information for cache fusion and maintains data integrity. What is Global Services Daemon, GSD? GSD runs on each node and is not an Oracle background process. This process performs administrative tasks, such as startup and shutdown, based on the requests from different clients, such as DBCA and Enterprise Manager. What is the use of RSMN? RSMN stands for Remote Slave Monitor Process. It creates slave processes on remote instance on behalf of master coordinating process running on another instance. What is the use of GXTOJ? GTX is a global transaction process, which provides transparent supports for XA global transactions. The number of these processes is decided automatically based on the requirements. What is the use of LCKO? LCKO is lock process, which is used to manage requests for shared resources. What is the use of LMS? LMS stands for Lock Monitor Service. The primary job of the process is to transfer data blocks between cache of different nodes using high-speed interconnect. It is the most important and critical process for cache fusion. Each node has at least 2 LMS processes. What is the use of Lock Monitor Process? It manages global resource and locks. It configures locks and resources whenever an instance joins or leaves the cluster. It is also called Global and Queue Service Monitor. What is the use of RSMN? RSMN stands for Remote Slave Monitor Process. It creates slave processes on remote instance on behalf of master coordinating process running on another instance. List the characteristics of Oracle services. An Oracle service must have a unique name. It offers workload balancing and failover options. What is the difference between server-side and client-side connection load balancing? Listener performs client-side load balancing on client, while load balancing advisory is used for server-side load balancing. Server-side load balancing distributes processing workload among Oracle RAC nodes, whereas client-side load balancing distributes new connections among Oracle RAC nodes. What is ACFS? ACFS provides an Oracle home shared file system or a general-purpose clustered file system on ASM storage. It needs ASM Dynamic Volume Manager, ADVM, to communicate to the operating system. Name some Oracle clusterware tools and their uses. Following are several tools to manage Oracle clusterware. Cluster Verification Utility, CVU, verifies various cluster components to detect problems in the environment. Oracle Enterprise Manager, OEM, provides graphic user interface to manage database. Server Control refers to the command line utility to manage database. Cluster Ready Service Control, CRSCTL, refers to a command line tool to manually control clusterware, such as start and stop clusterware. Oracle Interface Configuration, OIFCFG, refers to a command line tool to allocate and deallocate network interfaces to components. OCR Configuration, OCRConfig, refers to a command line tool that can be used for OCR administration. Give the steps to install and configure RAC. Following are the steps to install and configure RAC. Install operating system drivers. Configure ASM. Create ASM disks. Install grid infrastructure. Create additional disk groups as needed. Set up automatic reload of ASM cluster file system, ACFS, drivers on reboot. Set up ACFS disk group. Install software. Create database. Perform sanity checks. Which parameters should be set while starting up the ASM instance? You need to set the cluster_database and instance_type parameters while starting up the ASM instance. What is the advantage of using ASM? Two main advantages of using ASM are performance benefits and manageability. I/O operations in ASM are managed directly by Oracle kernel bypassing operating system layer. Therefore, it provides better performance for I/O operations. ASM storage is referred to as disk group, which is a set of multiple disks. The system does not have to deal with individual disks, therefore, it is easier to manage your ASM storage. What are the major RAC wait events? The major RAC wait events are associated with buffer cache. The most common wait events in RAC are GCCR request, which occurs when an instance tries to retrieve the data from the remote cache and GC buffer busy.